The popular spam call identification app Truecaller, they're apparently being scrutinized by the information regulator because there have been some complaints that Truecaller may violate the POPI Act, the Protection of Personal Information Act. Who is laying these complaints? The information regulator says they can't say, but I have a sneaky suspicion that it's call centers and direct marketing agents. Because I don't answer my phone now. In fact, Truecaller is one of the few things that I pay premium for. So I don't even see the notification. I don't even see my phone go bleep to notify me of a call because it gets blocked. But the concerns were, and the information regulator says, to their credit, are looking into it, saying that it may violate the POPI Act because of how Truecaller collects and handles the data of users here in South Africa. Hitesh Bhagat is the head of corporate communication for Truecaller International. Good morning, Hitesh. Nice speaking to you again. Does it come at some surprise to you that the South African government agency, the information regulator, says that they've received complaints about Truecaller in how it may be handling and collecting data?
Hey, Lester, good morning, and thanks for having me again. The thing is that we haven't actually received any official notice of this. So once we do, we can probably look into that in a little bit more detail. But as you do know, Truecaller is present in a lot of different geographies, a lot of different countries, and our endeavor is really to comply with any of the local regulations that do exist. So, I mean, there are places, let's say, for example, Nigeria, that even has probably one of the strictest, consumer data protection laws, and we are sort of complying with those as we speak. India, the same, right? Which is again a really large market for us, and there are data protection laws coming in here as well. California, for example. So we're trying to sort of make sure that we can offer the same level of protection to people regardless of where they are, while still being compliant with all the local regulations and laws that exist.
Truecaller and other apps, but top of my mind is Truecaller. You may not be very popular with direct marketing companies, the call center companies, because you do what I think is a very good service of blocking those calls. Hitesh?
Yeah, thank you so much for that feedback. In fact, I've been speaking with your producer as well, and then he conveyed to me how much you guys appreciate Truecaller, and that you wanted to remind people how exactly Truecaller works, and some of the we spoke about the last time. And the thing is that, and you mentioned the regulators receiving complaints, and we did read a couple of news articles as well, and we saw some of those articles posted on X. And then we also saw the huge outpouring of support from South Africans, replying to these articles. So, in fact, I've even noted some of them down. So if we have time and with your permission, I can even read out some of the posts that, folks have said in response to these complaints. So we could discuss that.
What I also want to discuss, and yes, it's a helpful service, but our consumer correspondent, Wendy Nola, has dealt with some complaints when it comes to cybersecurity and cyber spam. Wendy reports this week that she has dealt with cases of where nefarious individuals. Firstly, how it works, how Truecaller works, is that it is essentially crowdsourced. So if a number comes up regularly enough, people enter the details of that particular company, entity, or person, and it's a crowdsourced information gathering, and that's how this identity is created. But Wendy reports this week that she has had complaints of people who say that nefarious individuals would make calls to each other. They would then collect and collate a certain legitimate company's name when they are not. And Wendy's complaints deal with people saying, but this then doesn't make the system foolproof if people can input their own data to reflect maybe a third party's name or company identity. I don't know if you have a response to that, Hitesh.
Yeah, in fact, I think your colleague had emailed me that this was what Wendy was saying. And I just wanted to add to what you said about how Truecaller works, right? I mean, it is information from the consumers of Truecaller. That part is correct. It's a rather than crowdsourced, it's actually community driven. That's what we like to call it because it's a community of folks around the world who, when they receive unwanted calls and messages, they're marking those messages as spam or scam and they're blocking them. But in addition to that, and this has been around for a few years now, is actually an AI system and algorithms that preempt the consumer markings. So this looks at various different signals that exist in the phone network, and it can preempt the behavior of a spammer or a scammer. So our intention is to warn consumers that, hey, there is something suspicious about this phone call, even before consumers have one thing that we've already been doing for quite a few years now. Now, the other part is the consumer markings and name suggestions that we do. They kick in pretty early, often on the same day, depending on how many calls the scammer is making. So we want this, it's a cat and mouse game, right? We want the consumer to be protected. That's the first and the North Star goal. So we're trying to build all of these things that can achieve this goal. We use the analogy of the locked door, right? If someone rings the bell and you want to go to answer your door, you need to know who it is before you answer because it could be anyone. It's the same thing with the phone call. You need to know who it is.
Yeah.
That's the source of scams. The phone call, the
Yeah.
unknown phone call, and the unknown message.
But
That's really the problem.
Hitesh, we're running out of time, but I do have a question when it comes to personal identification and personal information protection. I know that I have phoned people and they have Truecaller and my number had come up on their phone. They not my name is not entered into their phone. Can I, as an individual, say, you know what, I want to unlist from this? I don't want, if I'm calling someone, I don't want my details to come up on their screen. I think
Absolutely.
that is, the question when it comes to the protection of personal information.
So it's great that you brought this up because this is actually a requirement of many data protection laws, not just in South Africa, but many different parts of the world. And you need to, whatever service you're using, and you should probably run this test across different apps or services that you use. Is there an easy way to view or download your data? Is there an easy way to remove, delete your data, deactivate your account? Now, we do this in the app itself. Like if you download the app, there is a privacy center in the app, and you can do all of these things. Let's say you don't have the app, or you're switching phones, or you don't want to download it for some reason. You can also do this when you go to truecaller.com/unlisting. So there's a dedicated website where you enter your phone number. We verify that it's your phone number with a little message, and then you
Mm,
can proceed to unlisting that. And that is a requirement.
mm. Hitesh, really appreciate your time as always, but thank you so much. That's all we have time for today. Hitesh Bhagat
Thank
there
you.
is the head of corporate communication at Truecaller.